2.8 objectives. Find the distance between 2 points. Find the midpoint of a line segment. Write the standard form of a circle's equation. Give the center and radius of a circle whose equation is in standard form. And convert the general form of a circle's equation to standard form. You got that? Do you remember doing distance formula and midpoint formula? When did you do that? Geometry, right? Geometry, okay. Do you remember the distance formula? Or should I remind you of it? Yes? Okay, excellent. Oh, the second one? Okay. So x sub 2 minus x sub 1 squared plus y sub 2 minus y sub 1 squared. And that's all underneath the square root. Do I need to do any examples of that, or you got it? You got it? Okay, awesome. So that's distance. And then there's this one, midpoint formula. Do you remember midpoint formula? Yes, you remember it, but you'd like me to remind you anyways? That's fair. It's a point, right? So the first part of the point is the two x values added together divided by 2. So you're finding like the average, right? And the two y values added together divided by 2. So again, finding an average. But that makes sense if you're finding the midpoint, right? In the middle. You need examples of that, or you got that? Okay. So that takes care of 1 and 2 objectives. 3 is write the standard form of a circle's equation. So first of all, when we talked about this in Algebra 2, we called this the vertex form. Okay? They call it standard form. So when I write it for you, I bet you recognize it. Because like I said, we did talk about it. We just called it something different. They call it standard form. What do you know about what's here? What do you remember about what's here? Where's the center of the circle? HK. And what's the radius? Yeah, R. That makes sense though, right? They would have a radius stand for R, or R stand for radius, not the other way around. So writing the standard form of the circle's equation is basically if I give you a center and a radius, can you write the standard form? Okay, let's check and make sure. Okay, if I tell you the center is 2, 3, and the radius is 5, what is the standard form of this circle? Well, x minus h, which would be 2, because that's where the center is, right? Squared, plus y minus 3, because that's k, squared equals r squared. So 25, right? Yeah? Easy or hard? Yeah? Okay. So what about if the center was at -1, 4? And the radius was 3. What is the standard form of a circle? X minus h. Ooh. So plus 1, right? Excellent. Plus y minus 4. Good. Squared equals? Yeah, 9. Can you go the other way? if I say to you the standard form is x plus 4 squared y minus 6 squared equals 4. Can you tell me where the center is and what the radius is? Negative 4, 6, and 2. Can I try to trick you? Yeah, okay. X minus 5 squared plus y plus 1 squared equals 7. Where's the center? 5, negative 1. And what's the radius? What? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what the square root of 7 is. Just write the square root of 7. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. Because, right, that's how we get there, right? Whatever this equals, that's the radius. The square root of that, is the radius. If we have the radius, we square it to get what it equals, right? So if it's 7, I just take the square root of 7. I don't know what it is. Write it down. Square root of 7. Now, if it said, what's the radius round to 2 decimal places, what do you think they want you to do? Yeah, put it in the calculator, right? But if it just says what's the radius, the square root of 7 is a perfectly acceptable answer. Okay? All right. So, let's look back at our objectives. Find the distance between 2 points. You got that? Find the midpoint of a line segment. Okay? Write the standard form of a circle's equation. Give the center and radius of a circle whose equation is in standard form. Okay, so all we have left is this. Convert the general form of a circle's equation to standard form. You ready for that one? All right. So, let's make sure you understand the 2 terms that they use in that objective. General form and standard form, okay? I think you got standard form now. But just to make sure, x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. That's standard form, okay? We need to be able to get things into standard form when they're given to us in general form. For example, so you might be given a problem that looks like this. X squared plus y squared plus 4x minus 6y minus 23 equals 0. We have to take this and get it into standard form. And the best way to do that is to complete the square. Do you remember completing the square when we were dealing with quadratics? If you don't, that's okay. It's been a while. Okay? But do you mind if I remind you? That's okay? Okay, awesome. You guys are so great. So the first thing I want to do is I want to gather my like terms. Okay? I want to gather my like terms. So I want to write x squared plus 4x, and I want to write y squared minus 6y, and then I want to just get rid of the 23. Move it to the other side of the equation. So gather like terms and move the constant. You okay so far? Remembering how to do completing the square is kind of a big deal. Okay? I'm only going to look at the x terms right now. Just looking at the x. I take this middle term right here. Well, it's going to be a middle term because we're about to complete the square by adding something right here, right? I'm going to take this middle term and divide it by 2 and square it. That made me very happy. I saw you. That was good. I'm glad you remembered. What's 4 divided by 2? What's 2 squared? So if I add 4 right here, where else do I have to add 4? If I'm going to keep the equation balanced, yeah, for sure I have to add it to the other side, don't I? Okay. Now I'm going to look just at the y's. Okay. Divide this by 2 and square it. What is negative 6 divided by 2? Negative 3. Negative 3 squared? 9. Will I ever subtract anything right here? No. So if I add 9 here, also add 9 over there, right? So that was completing the square. Next, we want to go to the binomials. Go to the binomials. Do you remember what binomials look like? Well, if this is a trinomial, what does a binomial look like? Right, 2 terms. There's only 2 terms. So it looks like this. What 2 things do I multiply together to get me this squared trinomial? X and 2. I either take half of this or I square root this, right? Either way, it's going to give me the same number, correct? So now go to the binomial here. Y minus 3. So I either divide this by 2 or I take the square root of that, right? This time, we got to keep the sign of that middle number, don't we? Okay? Equals what? 23 plus 4 plus... What? Oh, thank you, yes. Thank you. 23 plus 4 plus 9? 36. We're done. Right? Because it's got to be in standard form. Look at standard form. Isn't that what we just got? From here, can you identify the important information? What's the important information here? Center is where? Negative 2, 3. And what's the radius? Perfect. You got any questions? You feel comfortable going from standard form to general form? You need more examples or no? No? Okay. Mark, it's echo?